Assalamualaikum, madam. Today we want to explain about chapter 7, which is note-taking technique. My name is Rosliana binti Rusbini. She is Nur Fatehah binti Azhar. He is Amirul Ashraf bin Zaiful Nazim, and he also Shahadam Yusri bin Mat Yunus.
Thank you for Yana. Textbook features. Number 1, keys to overall textbook organization. Number 2, preface. And number 3, table of contents. 4, index. And number 5, glossary. Textbook across the disciplines, literature and composition. Contents, understand and evaluate words fiction. Poetry, drama from various periods and cultures. Study this, practice grammar. And you can get a lot of new vocabulary. Also by psychology. Contents, biology, diagrams, research studies, case studies, study tips, self-explanation, interlevel practice. Next slide, number 3, sociology. Contents, study human societies, their interactions, and the processes that observe and change them. Study tips, read a book and meet with people. Number 4, maths. Contents, calculate numbers and find out formulas. Study tips, do a lot of practice and you can get a lot of formula from it. Next slide. Number 5, science. Contents, vocabulary words, mathematical concepts, laws of the discipline. Vocabulary words. Study tips, learn key terms, focus on processes. Number 6, business. Contents, accounting business or case studies of real companies, flowchart. Study tips, knowing about perspective of a business. Next, and number last, history. Contains events occurred when the name of a previous item. And study tips, acronym names, look back at the reading. Next.
Thank you, Shahadam Yusri. Now, how to take notes from reading material. Firstly, taking clear and concise note you will remember. Keep your notes organized by writing important details at the top of each page. Secondly, use your own language. Develop your own system of sign and abbreviation that can help you more quickly take notes and review them. For the example, TB for textbook. Thirdly, write keyword instead of full sentences. Avoid using this model when you write your notes. Instead, use keyword to say the same thing in a short and manageable way that you can easily and quickly review the next page. What is editing? Editing is the process of correcting, revising, and editing your notes to make them complete and more accurate. Editing for a 1 hour's lecture should take no more than 10 minutes. Secondly, write your reminder, idea, true, etc. down as soon as you have. You do not necessarily need to use complete sentences when writing a note as long as you're confident that you will know what you write. Thirdly, store the notes to yourself in a safe place. You might want to keep all of your notes to yourself in something like a journal or diary. Always have them with you or know where is it so that you can access it when you need. Keeping your notes on your desk is usually a pretty good idea, as that is one place you spend much every day. Next slide. How to edit your note. First, use different styles of notes for different classes, such as using the outline system for a history class and the corner style for a psychology class. Secondly, write your notes clearly by hand. Make sure that you write clearly and don't let your handwriting get sloppy. If you can read your own notes, then you won't be able to study with them. Thirdly, compose an organized outline. Immediately slightly to the right and add detail and example underneath your general idea. Fourthly, draw your notes with mind mapping. Draw large circle and write specific topic you hear or read in them. Sticker line to indicate main point and write a brief keyword or two that summarize supporting information to the topic. Finally, add shorter and thinner lines for supporting detail. Mind mapping can be an especially used tool if you are visual learner. Lastly, color code your notes. This is due to the fact the colors stimulate the creative side of your brain, making your note more interesting and therefore easy to retain. Color coding helps you to link colors with memory, allowing you to remember the contents of your notes with relative little effort. Next, editing and review your note. Firstly, do not postpone to do your note. Secondly, write based on what you understand from your learning. Lastly, do your own creative design of mind mapping. Next, how to study your notes. Firstly, write assigned material before going to class. Secondly, create concept cut from your lecture note. Thirdly, write material before going to class. Create a practice self-test from your lecture note. Or read assigned material before going to class. Reading before class prime those all important neural network kind of like warming up gets your body ready for a strenuous workout. It will help you be better understand what the teacher is discussing, more quickly absorb and process additional material presented, and more readily recognize particularly scientific pointed when your teacher spent 10 minutes talking about the poison dart frog, not the poison salamander, in a lecture and amphibians. And reading, take down notes of this area that are confusing. Look up terms you are unfamiliar with or that are not fully explained within the reading. Great question that you can ask in class if they are not class period during the class period. Sometimes teacher will make course material available online including lectures, reading, and helpful resources. If not stated in the course syllabus, ask your teacher how to access the material. Firstly, review previous lecture notes. Before going to class, review your previous lecture's note to refresh yourself on what was last discussed. Not any question you have and raise them in class. Reviewing the previous lecture will also help you better follow along with what is presented that day, particularly if the lecture are accumulated of build upon each other. Also will help you be a more active listener, which is particularly profitable in the repetition and recall testing area. Next, preview your textbook 1 of 3. How to preview reading assignment. First, and the title and subtitle. Second, understand what you need to know from the textbook. Before you even consider picking up your textbook, it's vital that you understand exactly what contents you need to learn from it. After all, there's no point designing an entry's 200-page book if you only need the small section of it. If this is the case, take some time to check through your subject syllabus, paper past paper, or even notes from class to understand the topic you need to focus on during your notes-taking process. Ideally, you should give yourself at least 15 minutes to do so. Taking bullet point of every section you need to cover on your complete the note-taking process. Remember to check back over this initial list and ensure that you have made notes on all the sections you needed to. If not, see if you miss anything in the textbook, and you may need to look further a file for another book. Second, take a section and write your notes memory. Other great and effective note-taking tip to try and implement when reading is to try and memorize the content as you are transcribing it, otherwise known as the retrieval method. The method is fairly straightforward and work on the premise that you read a chapter of your textbook, close it, and then make all the notes from memory, checking for any errors and inaccuracies before moving into the next chapter. You are encouraged to repeat this method over and over until you make notes on all the sections you needed. Checking for important information. When it's come to taking notes effectively, one of the greatest and most efficient way to pull the information you need is to skim the entire textbook and make notes on the most important content. Don't have time to skim your entire textbook from the cover to cover. Read the introduction and in conclusion. They will highlight the main topic of the books, including which chapter may be most important for you. Don't forget draft and chart. Often, when taking notes from a textbook, it can be tempting to ignore or skim information in spot or chart within a chapter, particularly for research-heavy subjects as physics or mathematics. However, this supplemental information snippet can actually help you to understand information and should be ignored. Research, statistics, and other bites of information can often be critical to help you understand the chapter main concept and definition. Ignore them and could find yourself missing some key understanding. Next, create and outline the textbook. When you take notes from textbook, you are essentially trying to condense the entire thing into a succinct format, one which pulls all the important information and terminology out for you without any superfluous content. Great tips for helping you to do effectively is to skim through the entire textbook chapter by chapter and use all the heading and subheading to create an outline of the book, but leaving small gaps between each of these headings. There are many different ways you can do this by using the heading to make a storyboard, mind map, or using the concept notes writing technique. Whatever method works best for you is fine as long as you keep the notes short. Check your notes for any error. For your notes taking be effective, it needs to be accurate, and so every time you finish a chapter or section of text, it's important that you check your notes thoroughly for any errors or inaccuracies. This is particularly important for subjects that will have a lot of spelling, such as scientific terms in physics and chemistry, as well as name of important figures in subjects such as history and politics. In your textbook, revise your notes to check accuracy in your dates, facts, and figures, spelling, and key terminology. There is all many information, important detail you can afford to miss or decide incorrectly in the future. Highlight all the important details. How many times you scroll through the media social looking a beautiful colored note? Did you know that highlighting notes can actually be the secret to helping you achieve great academic results? There are a few tips you should follow to ensure that your coloring code works for you. Consistency is key. The colors you choose to segment your text need be the consistent. Whether you use red to highlight facts, blue for dates, or green for names. Remember to make a note of the colors you use for different sections and stick to them. By doing so, you will avoid unnecessary confusion. Include small illustration and doodle are the great method for how to take note from a textbook effectively. To try and interpret them in a way that is completely unique to you by turning snippet into the small illustration and doodle. With that being said, those who enjoy illustration and diagrams should consider including them in their notes taking. After all, they can have several benefits. First, better understand new information. Turning complex explanation to easy understand diagrams and help you better understand new information. This can be particularly useful for topics as medicine, chemistry, or physics, where you often need to understand how different processes work. One of the biggest tips we can offer on how to take note effectively is to condense a note as much as possible. No one can memorize page and page of context. After all, that's why you have decided to take note from a textbook in the first place. The more you go back to notes and the more interact with them, the more familiar you will become with the information and retain it for the long term.
Textbook highlighting and annotation. Marginal annotation. Marginalia are marks made in the margin of a book's or other's document. They may be scribble, comments, glosses, annotation, critique, doodles, or illumination. Summary notes. Pull together ideas in your own words. Briefly summarize paragraph or section of a text. Summarizing is a good way to keep track of essential information while gaining control of lengthier passage. Summarize will state what the paragraph is about. Focus on the main point, and that may not be the entire sentence. It's perfectly okay to highlight only key term or part of sentence. Then, recall clues. For example, words, phrases, or questions that you can use to quiz yourself. Connect. Make connection between the reading to your own life and to the work. Making connection will improve your comprehension of the text. While reading, you might ask, how does this relate to me? How does this relate to the ideas in the text? And how does this relate to the work? And question both the ideas in the text and your own understanding of the text. Asking good questions while reading will help you become a more critical reader. This question will help you improve cognitive performance and challenge your knowledge on any subject. While reading, you might ask, what is the author saying here? And what is the author doing? Next, outlining to organize and condense information. Below outline note. First, concentrate on importance of ideas. Only record the information relevant from your research. Firstly, understand what you need to know from the outline notes. For example, before you even consider picking up your textbook, it's vital that you understand exactly what content you need to learn from it. Be brief. If this will save time by using abbreviation and acronyms. Second, create an outline. For example, when you take note from a textbook, you are essentially trying to condense the entire thing into a certain format, one which pull of the important information and terminology out for you without any surplus content. And outline the main topic and outline the subtopic. Ideally, you have a small number of main topics. Even just a single main topic is okay. This is the first of many information organization decisions you will be making. You will need to outline the main topic from the material. This main topic will be written to the left side on the document. Now, it's time to outline the subtopic. These subtopics are written below the main topic with an indentation to the right and with some space between each subtopic to allow the insertion of supporting arguments. Numbers, letters, bullet points, and dashes are commonly used to the subtopic. Summarize the outer work in your own word by paraphrasing the content into your own word. Make sure sub-entries are relevant. For your note taking to be effective, it needs to be accurate. And so, every time you finish a chapter or section of text, it is important that you check your notes thoroughly for any errors or inquiries. When to use outline note? Difficult material. Writing a composition is a difficult thing, especially if you are a beginner. Some writers write in a disorganized way, making their composition redundant on ideas. In a composition, it it is important to organize the thing you want to say or emphasize to avoid redundancy. This could be done through the use of outline in writing. Second, interpreting or reacting. One of the most effective ways is planning a writing or revising a composition is through the use of an outline. Outlines serve as an active analysis in order to discover the important point in a writing composition. It serves as the composition visual model when it comes to in structure and plan. An outline should be used in order to the writer to determine the topic's main division. Next, order and process. Another use of the formal outline is in rough draft revision or if you want to edit the final version of your composition. Using an outline makes the writer to see some of the errors in the composition such as the lack of cohesion or unity in the paragraph or some errors in the logical relationship of either. And last, classification. The outline can also be used to diagnose a paper or in testing. Other words, using an outline could also be used in outlining argument, where can be able to refute someone's position by outlining the statement or argument had made. Next slide, concept map. Concept map are visual representation of information. They can take the form of chart, graphic, organizer, table, flowchart, Venn diagram, timelines, or T-chart. Concept maps are especially useful for students who learn better visually, although they can benefit any type of learner. Create a main concept and write at center page. Whatever medium you choose, the next step is to determine the central idea that you want to detail. If you are not sure where to begin, try identifying a portion of text, a classroom activity, or a tough problem that needs solving. Second, identify key concepts. Now you selected a main concept, the next step is to write down subordinate concepts. Make a list of related ideas and rank them from the general to specific. Organize shape and lines. Order each of your concept is a hierarchical format with the most general ideas at the top of the main under your main concept and the most specific one of the bottom. Concept map will take form as you connect shape with line and pinpoint the correct location for each idea. Concept map typically have tag or linking word written on each line to make sense of the relationship between a general concept and more specific one. Generate, sort, and connect. Explain to students that they will be creating a concept map for the topic you have chosen. First, ask students to generate a list of word, phrases, and ideas about the topic you have selected. Lastly, next slide, map a sequence of event. Label event, marks intervals, and draw single line. Label the timeline with the project title and the boundary years. Use a ruler if you are making your timeline by hand. Then choose a start, end, and point. You need to set boundary for your timeline. Your boundaries need to allow you to explore your topic. So start and end point timeline with enough space to cover all of the event. Consider your topic and narrow it to select the right starting point and ending point. Select your time increments. Depending on the span of time you are working with, you might choose increment indicates year, month, or even days. Give your project a title that tells the viewer what your timeline is about. Ensure that your title encompasses all that you include in your project rather than just the topic. And lastly, let's add the detailed and important information about each event. For each entry, write a short explanation about what happened, including facts such as who was involved, the impact of the event, and any number related to the event.
Mapping to show relationship. Depicting and identifying pattern. Number 1, organizing segment. An organizational segment is a map that tells your reader what they shall expect to read in your transition. And transition is word or phrase that connect one idea to another. This connection can be within paragraph or between paragraph. Lecture format. A lecture is an oral presentation intended to present information or teach people about a particular subject. For example, by a university or college teacher. Next, use pattern to organize your notes. Pattern of organization show the relationship between supporting details in paragraphs and chapters. The organization of the supporting details helps you understand how an author thinks and helps you remember what you read. Adapt note taking to classroom media. Note taking is an important aspect of formal classroom learning, and students who take more course lecture notes in general are higher achieve. As diagrams, process diagram, called flow diagram by TOGAF are used to model the sequence of activities within a process. Cut and function cut. Number 1, a drawing that labels various parts and use of an object. Number 2, organizational cut. Number 3, show how a business or group divides its personnel or responsibilities. 4, comparison and contrast cut. 5, divide and group information according to similarities. Thank you.